Welcome back to Nightmind, friends. And welcome back to Cabin Fever Dreams, with the most famous project I've ever covered during this special spring season thing that I do, and for good reason. Welcome Home was first covered on March 21st of last year, so now we're just a bit past the 1 year mark, and I think such an occasion calls for not only the review of the update that dropped this past March, but a quick summary of the story so far, for anyone who's forgotten or any new neighbors visiting tonight. The in-depth videos I have are available, but for those who just want to get right in with a quick catch-up of the most important points, I will be happy to assist. Right this way, follow me, come along. Welcome Home appeared to us on the website for the Welcome Home Restoration Team, a group of people dedicated to recovering any and all media and information pertaining to a lost 70s puppet and cartoon show called, naturally, Welcome Home. Now, why was it lost, and how come nobody remembers it? Maybe it has to do with the envelopes of existing media that were discovered, full of paint and ink, obvious attempts to destroy the material inside. Why the destruction attempts? If the hidden text on the website at the time showing a team member's spiral into madness gave us any clue, it's because information pertaining to the show was a cognito hazard, the likes of which would landed in the crosshairs of the SCP Foundation. When I unwrapped the first letter, I felt it, the team member wrote. I heard it. Open. 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 I want it out. I'm going to get it out. Does it hurt? This, among a few other elements like it in your classic case of sudden aggressive mental infection by anomalous forces, scattered across this lovingly crafted website full of beautiful artwork that, yeah, really does evoke the idea of a genuine old TV show that was popular enough to have a lot of merchandise and promotional art. It even included a neighborhood map, introducing us to the characters, their houses, and places of business. There's the ever-happy Julie Joyful, who talks to flowers. Sally Starlet, a natural performer. Poppy Partridge, a whirring hen who loves to bake. Eddie Deer, the hard-working mailman. Howdy Pillar, the charismatic general store owner. Barnaby B. Beagle, a comedian. Frank Frankly, a tightly dressed friend to all insects. And the central character, Wally Darling, who lives inside a living home, called Home, at the very center. Don't mind the black goo trailing from under Home's door, but do mind the fact that you could click on it and see this image, suggesting that the lurking horror present in the concept and physical media of Welcome Home managed to find its way through the newly created website and has a new point of access to this world, and may have influence over Wally Darling. There were plenty of doodles on the site's guestbook, and a follow-up stream exploring viewer discoveries in the wake of the first video revealed the file names for the doodles were replies to messages. But who was doing this? The nature of the messages seemed to be out of character for a restoration team member. The information we needed came from out-of-place letters throughout the site that, when arranged in certain patterns and placed at the end of the URL, led to new pages, like this one, showing Wally Darling hiding in wait for us. You could tell we were there, but couldn't see us somehow. We were urged to stay quiet if we could see him. Digging through other secret pages revealed Welcome Home media, like segments of scripts, and eventually led to more surprising elements, like Wally singing with an echo and TV static in the background. At this point, there were no secret pages for any other characters. One item of note from the news page written on February 25, 2023, the members of the Welcome Home Restoration Project received an offer to showcase their findings about the show at a gallery held by a professional exhibitor who called themselves the Question Answerer. The paragraph describing this also showed signs that the writer was not well, definitely in the throes of an anomalous spell. We wondered at this point if they'd made contact yet with Wally. In July, a major update came to the site, including everything the team could put up about the Welcome Home Gallery showing. In universe, the company who made the show was called Playfellow Workshop, so it was labeled the Playfellow Workshop Exhibition. The update also came with a lot of new elements, discoveries of old merchandise like cast records, toys, and small bugs all across the site, which you could click on to go to secret pages containing videos. Every video was live action with characters speaking in some kind of scene, but out of view, creating immediate confusion about what we were watching. Were these scenes from the show? Why would we be viewing things at this angle? Why did things distort and end whenever someone spoke to Wally directly? You could also catch doodles being drawn live, which led to new links containing records. Who was leaving these behind?
That's what an eye looks like. My eyes are black. What color are yours?
Wally was speaking to us and would go on to say a number of concerning things, like how there were so many new eyes he had now, and still couldn't see. In other pages, you could explore the new media uncovered, much of it audio allowing us to hear the other characters at length for the first time. One peculiar merchandise item was the talking telephone toy, with every character's button working, except Wally's. But for us, the audio played.
Hello? 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 Ha ha ha. I'm only kidding. I know you're there. Did you like my joke? I think you were going to say yes. Ha ha ha. You know, it is hard to hear you think through this funny phone of mine. It is as though you aren't speaking at all. Maybe it is just a little fuzzy, like me. Speaking of, do you know who I am? Oh, no. Well, that's not neighborly at all. We've never met before. But don't worry, even though you and I haven't spoken before. I've seen you every time you have looked into my eyes. I want to know, what did you see? I hope you saw a friend, but I'm not sure you saw a name. Stand still. Let's start over. Ring, 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 click. Hi, I'm Wally. I'm so happy to finally meet you. I think you're the absolute most. Uh-oh, I have to go now. Everyone is probably thinking about that strange phone call. It is funny to think about. Ha ha ha. Don't worry though, neighbor. It will be a little joke between you and me. You have to go too. You have work to do. Remember, until you hear me again, keep your smile merry and always know that I love you very much. Goodbye.
On the page for the Playfellow exhibition, we got to see how the gallery show went, with all the media put on display, including a replica puppet of Wally. Notes at the end of the page mention that the exhibition was a success. And still, no one was able to say they were familiar with the show. Hidden on this page was a secret link in one of the repetitions of the word answer. It led to a photo of a worksheet someone was using to get a password, 5 characters, and mentioned the phone. It was absolutely driving this person mad. If you click through on the photo, you'd be presented with a welcome home themed safe with some black mess on it. This prompted a password requiring the first letters of the character names that were answers for the worksheet from the exhibit. Upon entering those, a new and very rewarding page appeared, showing a breakdown of the normal site and a whole lot of the black creeping in. The writer described a dream they had when they began working on the Playfellow exhibition. Wally sitting at the foot of the bed with a rotary phone ringing, just like the talking toy telephone. He stared, waiting for the dreamer to pick it up, but they couldn't figure out how to move. They continued getting phone calls, or kept hearing a phone ringing, all day sometimes. It wasn't their phone, and they thought it was a prank by other site staff, tearing up the workspace but failing to find the source of the ringing. They couldn't figure out anything in regards to the noise or the show. No one questioned had any answers, and for someone working for the question answerer, or the answerer themselves perhaps, not even exploring everything the restoration project team gave helped. They could still hear the phone ringing as they wrote. A series of images were provided then, showing the back area of the exhibit contained more items related to the show, and some of the media was rather dark. There were emails back and forth between the exhibit team and the restoration team, including a note to get the safe code, which held activity prizes. The email in particular was asking the website team for the code, and they were just given the worksheets, with blacklight text on the page that read, "Wally Darling." Notes were given to put on gloves before touching any art, and some used gloves had evidence of black gunk on them, the same that seemed to be affecting the exhibit. Another printout about the team's restoration effort had a blacklight message. "Everything is so disgusting to touch. Sometimes the mail doesn't come for weeks. I want to rip into everything I have. My head feels so muddled too, ever since I opened that envelope." Another email exchange urged the exhibit staff to touch nothing with their bare hands, and mentioned that if a substance begins to grow on anything delivered, please place it back in the box it was shipped in and return it. If any of the staff experienced nausea, dizziness, or fatigue, they shouldn't be alarmed. So, not just mentally infectious material, but physically. The question answerer provided a journal entry detailing what was going on behind the scenes and mentioning how the restoration team sent their research notebook. The answerer was sure it must be an elaborate prank. Nobody had ever heard of Welcome Home, and there was more of that stuff on the walls. The phone kept ringing. A photo showed 2 research notebooks provided, and the cover of the first isn't comforting. The one on the left is from the website team, the one on the right from the question answerer. The website team's notebook seems to start just as we were told it all began, a desire to catalog a strange discovery. At the bottom of the secret exhibition page, we see a link and a spot of the black substance infecting this area of the site. It's in here. An error page appears, but wait around and Wally provides a new drawing.
Let me in.
Exploring the secret pages from before also gave new information, like the live-action segments that began lining up as if it was all in the course of a single day, and other Wally messages. This one in particular connects to the previous information.
Why won't you answer me, neighbor? Why can't I hear you? You know me. You do. Please open. Let me in.
Finally, in collecting all the insects across the site and the live-action sections, something becomes quite clear. Not only was it a day in the life of the Welcome Home neighbors, we were looking through Wally's eyes for all of it, as he stared off into a fixed point, like a puppet left sitting alone. And the events didn't seem at all to fit a script for the show. The implication was startling. Welcome Home appeared to be a universe unto itself, which seemed impossible, but so was everything else so far in relation to it, from the merchandise to the evidence of real-world events, like a live talk show interview. Those who speculated that an update would come in October around the anniversary of Welcome Home's in-universe premiere were correct, and it arrived on Friday the 13th. On the landing page, Home was dressed up for Halloween, and on the front page, so was Wally. You could find all sorts of fun items across the site related to Halloween, like pages from a Welcome Home cookbook and a Wally Darling costume. The main draw, though, was the recovery of a full storybook record. In the tale, everyone shows up to Sally's for a costume party, and they end up sharing scary stories. But hers, which the restoration team claims they couldn't hear due to a record defect, is the best.
You'll all be quivering with fright at my tall tale.
Sally snatched the flashlight out of Wally's hands and aimed it underneath her face. Everyone leaned in close to hear.
Have you ever wondered why it is we stay indoors every night?
To get a beauty rest?
So we sing each other goodnight on the phone before bed?
Oh, so we can sort our stamps.
What? No, sometimes, and no. It is because this town is rumored to have visitors at night. Something from deep within the forest, far beyond the hills and mountains. No one knows what it wants or where it's going. Just that it is persistent. Just that it arrives here. So many stories have risen about their origins. But I know what it is searching for. 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 Searching, 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 searching. It is looking for neighbors who have stayed out past the daytime to gobble them up whole. That is why so few live here. It moves through the streets at night, but it doesn't break into homes. However, on rare instances, it will find itself with an appetite left unsatisfied by its aimless wandering. Even the occasional unfortunate insect that has crossed its path is not enough. Those who have lived through the night say it isn't quiet about it either. They always say you can hear when it gets closer to you. Do you know what sound it makes? I hear it every night. You can hear it too, if you listen. Especially if you wait next to your window. First, there's rustling in the bushes. Then, the scratching on the pavement. On the walls as it crawls up. Finally, if you're quiet, you can hear its guttural sound.
I have drinks ready.
Now, take into account the video attached to the new bug you can find on the site through the transcript for this record.
I think you might be thinking of Pedrolino.
See? Even the mailman gets it.
Of course I did. Wait, is that supposed to be an insult?
Oh, yes, that theatre clown. Silly. As it were, but she's actually not your dress for comedy. I think I'd rather have a pleasant chuckle. Well, chortle even.
I think Sally's right, though. What's living with all those... Now you see all those terror retreats. You're right.
At this rate, we'll be the laughing stock of the solar system.
Oh, Sally, dear, don't doubt yourself.
Hey, how's my little devil doing over here? You guarding my apple for me, pal? Oh, I guess you didn't do a very good job at it. Hey, who took a bite out of my apple? I think I see fang marks, Frank.
These fangs aren't real and you know that!
Sure. That's what they all say. Don't worry though, kid. There's plenty of other eats here. What are you feeling hungry for, Wally?
There were a lot more treats than tricks in the Halloween update, that's for sure. Right after a story about night visitors in the neighborhood hunting anything living to eat caught outside of its home, we see the world through Wally's eyes at the party in the scene following that same storybook record's ending. Everything becomes distorted as Wally seems to fade in and out of presence, and Barnaby's apple is eaten by something unseen. There had been ideas floated earlier in the timeline of the project that Wally could eat with his eyes. But in context, this doesn't really seem like his doing, and Wally wouldn't eat his best friend's apple behind his back. This update was substantial, giving us a possible lead on whatever odd infection took root in the neighborhood and was working its way into this reality, while also confirming that Welcome Home's world seemed to be running by itself. The storybook record was a storybook record, not a whole episode, and it ended, yet we still witnessed events following that exact event in video. This raised a question of chicken and egg. Was the Welcome Home neighborhood alive on its own, with the show being made to capture that reality, or had the art somehow generated it? And again, if so, how was it affecting this reality in such a strong way that it caused merchandise and could spread promotional material? This led us to understand why the show's media was destroyed. The idea of a presence lurking on the edges of the happy neighborhood was bound to come up while working with the concept or channeling that reality, and once it worked its way through, the danger would be known. All the way through its first year, Welcome Home developed in phenomenal ways, producing beautiful visual art, audio pieces, physical items, and live-action footage to portray its reality and the story. The website is an achievement to learn from and worth the admiration it's received. A rich playground for exploring the world of Welcome Home as a show concept, world build, and a growing horror tale. Every update has brought with it great new media to immerse us further in the idea, allowing us to know these characters and even the sense of what childhood may have been like enjoying its merchandise. And the latest update has done a magnificent job in expanding that. On March 9th, a member of the Welcome Home Restoration Project provided the Homewarming chapter, a winter holiday celebration. In addition to the news update for Homewarming, marked December 25th, one was provided on the actual day of launch, March 9th, titled Mistake, saying they assumed it was still December, and the individual who posted this must not have been paying proper attention. Now, because this is a unique situation of review and quick start guide, and Welcome Home is a website-based exploration project, this is the moment I can give you general guidance and encourage you to move forward on your own. The website as it exists now is new, under a new domain, and the previous elements explained, like the live-action video bugs, Wally's records, and the question answerer's mental infection and photos of physical spread are all gone. You can't get those anymore. At least, not for now. You actually would need to go through the video investigations in full to see them in full. Moving forward, you can enjoy all of the front-facing pieces added in every update, as long as it wasn't put there by Wally or someone experiencing the mental infection of dealing with the show's media. Merchandise, media, and info on the neighbors are all there, and the neighbor biographies are actually keeping up with what's discovered in the media that comes through each update, which is a great touch to show the restoration team is as invested in the lore as we are. In terms of the Homewarming updates, everything substantial is found through the merchandise page, and the last element of the Homewarming season merchandise lets you make sense of the many doodles scattered around the site at this time, up to a point. These pieces are for this update's puzzle, which brings you to the shadow side you're itching to see this time around. I can tell you it takes translating and rearranging. Those are the only two steps to get what you need. You can head off on your own now to indulge in everything yourself in full if you'd like, which I of course recommend and will always encourage. Or you can hang out for a quick overview of the Homewarming media followed by a dive into the underlayer. Or you can explore on your own right up until you don't know what to do, then come here, see what it takes, and then go off on your own again. Go on, make your choice. I'll use the YouTube chapter system so you know where things are. So, the first bit of fun, and arguably the most hilarious, is the giant update to the official Welcome Home Cookbook. It was fun to see back in October for all the Halloween treats, but the Homewarming section? Hats off to the Welcome Home team for all the work that went into making these pages, because there are a lot of photos, and this is one of the silliest things I've seen in a while. Holly jolly hot dog-a-days! Because nothing says the holiday season like hot dogs, right? It's very clear that Barnaby must have written this whole segment because, well, there are 25 varieties of hot dog, most of them completely outside of anyone's palate. Perhaps I could interest you in a hearth dog to hang by your fireplace. Or maybe the truly festive hot cocoa dog. More of a peppermint tradition kind of person. That's cool. Alright, I enjoy that myself. Honestly, I don't know how anyone could stand to eat most of these.
Only a cat couldn't understand the refined palate of a pooch. I mean, a corny dog, what's wrong with that? I can't help being a sentimental hound. I've got my little buddy Wally, and you could even have your own little buddy. Not Wally, though. Your own hot dog friend, complete with accessories.
Jeez, my head. What's in these hot dogs? Did I... No, I didn't eat any hot dogs today. They don't make me nauseous.
Get a load of whiskers over here. Acts like he's never seen a dog before.
Hey, I'm sorry. Sometimes weird food puts me off in a bad way. Odd quirk for a demon, I know. Let's just concentrate on the funny. Yeah. In fact, we can pick up the laughter again with the sickeningly sweet, crispy sweets pancakes. What, not festive enough? That's alright, have some hot cocoa and gelatin still inside the mug. Yes, the whole mug with the hot cocoa in the gelatin. And don't forget the marshmallows and sprinkles. And at the end of the whole journey, when you're done seeing all the holiday recipes of the Welcome Home neighborhood, please enjoy the certified showstopper, a single pea on a plate. This was hilarious to experience for the first time, and just goes to show the dedication of the team to making Welcome Home a thoroughly enjoyable and inventive experience, even for its jokes. Next up, we have the Welcome Home Wish Book, a shopping catalog for merchandise which really reflects how for a 70s show, the Playfellow Workshop was ahead of the times, channeling that pure 80s buy-it-all energy. They must have had a VTuber on their merchandising team. But joke's on us, because, come on, as if we all wouldn't have bought 3 or 4 things by now, right? It's full of fun things. Look at these toys, and look at some of the aging work done to these pages for authenticity. That's a marvelous touch. One curious note, this page's texture showing something seemingly drawn over it or pressed into it. Don't know how much that's on purpose or not as an element to really observe, but it's here, and you can make sense of certain things in it, like a length of chains on the right. At the end, we spot more offerings from Playfellow Workshop's audio merchandise partner, Marlowe Records, presenting much of what we know of and 3 records that exist as part of this update. There was also, curiously, a radio ad that went along with this.
So many good girls and boys this year. Oh, oh, oh. Let's see what they might find under their tree this holiday season with the Welcome Home Homewarming Wish Book. Children can pretend they're running their own grocery store with the Howdy Cash Register set. They'll have fun exchanging goods for toy money, like giggles, chuckles, and bellows. Oh, ho, ho, ho! Cha-ching! Oh!
There was a product listed for every character in Welcome Home during this ad, except for Eddie Deer, the mailman, which is odd. Following this came Homewarming, a storybook record about Wally being taken around the neighborhood by Barnaby to talk to everyone about the reason for the season. Wally wants to make sure home has a good homewarming, you see, and prepare for any neighbors to come by to celebrate. It's a great listen by itself, just like the Happy Haunting record, and I could give you a clip, but anything I might grab will just be the story as it is, nothing glitchy or out of place. The only element that stands out worth noticing isn't audible. Once again, we find Eddie Deer is missing in the festivities. I'd also like to point out, if anybody does want to go ahead and sit down and listen, that it is some of the best performance work that Wally's actor has put forward so far, highly characterized. And of course, that matches the quality of everybody else's performances this time around. They all just keep getting better. Eddie is present in the album that follows, Up From the Home Top, which is reassuring. Maybe he wasn't around for the previous 2 pieces, but he's not gone, clearly. Still, what was up with that? Howdy's Holiday Hullabaloo is given too, and is a fun listen on the world-building side. Barnaby's tobacco pipe is a relic of the times, huh? A tie-in product for Hoopla brand cigarettes. Don't go after Barnaby for that decision. He's just a dog. They were different times. Oh boy, were they different times. Bug-a-bye and Goodnight is a song by Frank Frankly about insects hibernating for the winter. And then we have something interesting. Greeting cards that the restoration team notes appear to span eras of the show. And finally, the holiday edition of Crispy Sweet cereal, Frosted Crispy Sweets, with Eddie Deer on the back giving us a decoder ring that matches two elements of the site. The doodles we've seen scattered everywhere, and a face that appears on the new tower south of the neighborhood. That tower is a mystery, but with the decoder ring, we can solve another. Gather up all the doodles across the site and use the decoder to figure out the letters. One page in particular, the guest book, has 3 symbols for W. www. That gives us the impression of a web address. By the end, you'll have a lot of letters, and your new task is to take out 3 W's and descramble the rest into something coherent. This could be a big task. One element that may help is to scan it for the domain extension type. The new website ends in .net, and there are enough letters to use that, so if you assume .net, then you don't have as many you have to work with. There are no major clues to the pattern on the site for the descrambling. You've got to keep trying it. Luckily, we have the answer. Away from pryingeyes.net. Feel free to take that and explore it on your own for the full immersive experience. There are no more puzzles to solve in this update. This is a very different site, and one it seems we'll need to visit again in the future. The owner writes, "Hello. If you have found this page, thank you. It shouldn't have been that difficult to arrive, but it would take effort to get here regardless. The Welcome Home Restoration Project is a unified effort that first launched in January 2022. The goal seems so small for the website. It was to uncover Welcome Home fully and to tell its story. It needed me. I needed it. Everyone started to look at us. You want this as badly as I do. I know you do because you come here again and again to see what I found. I was so sure. I was sure the end was in sight, or at least served as the beginning of it. But since then, nothing has made sense to me. No one has come forward or provided leads, and dead ends have since piled up. Nothing from our curator, who has since recovered. I don't know what happened to them to become so unwell to create that page. What has arrived, however, has felt truly upsetting. There was something on the old website. We have since remodeled, but everything still feels burned into my mind. Videos, text, crude drawings, invading this space that had been created. I felt nauseous when I found it. I was paranoid too, more so than I have been. I have been working so diligently to achieve this goal. It's been such a long time. It's been almost 4 years publicly, and I've yet to truly find it. So much sacrifice, focus, and time. The writer goes on to say they've made this website to catalog their own findings through unconventional recovery efforts, and to eliminate potential tampering by the restoration team, as well as document how they're feeling. They hadn't realized so much time had passed between December and now, saying, "So much has rotted in my home since then," reminding us of the room in the question answerer's gallery. The website is clean now, and while they'll be making sure nothing gets through again, they will archive what's happened since launch that's been scrubbed, but it will take time. Their final message on this page? Don't forget to wave up high. W. Is that concerning? Yeah, of course it is. The first item under evidence is broken phone. Clicking through, we get an audio recording and some explanation. I keep tinkering with a Welcome Home toy phone, or rather I have been playing with it. It plays everything as it should. The only button that consistently changes is Wally's, which either doesn't play at all or warbles out something incorrectly. Today it rang for me. Sometimes it will do this. I assume a button must be jammed to consistently play that noise. Instinctively I answer it, but nothing will come out. I've caught myself saying hello into the receiver in the past, but I've stopped now. This time, however, audio started playing on it that shouldn't be playing. I was so worried it was in my head again, but I have proof it wasn't. Here is the audio. You can hear Wally too, can't you?
Hello? Hello? I'm calling to wish you a happy homewarming from me and home.
Wally sings Toyland for the listener, the bonus song on the home-warming record from the main site. The call continues.
I'm trying to get better at singing. Did you like it? I wish I knew, but you still won't tell me anything. It's so quiet. It's so quiet. It's so quiet during home warming. Everyone's usually so busy, so it's just me and home for a long while. But I still like home warming. Everyone likes home warming. I don't want to end this call, but I have to go get ready for home warming. Barnaby will be here soon. I have to go. Remember, until you hear me again, keep your smile merry, and always know that I love you very much. Goodbye.
It sounds like Wally called before the events of the home-warming record. He also sounds a lot more energized than before. Still tired, but like he's now at a good 70% back to himself. The second evidence entry, though, commercials. This is the major section for the March updates. After clicking, we read, "Whatever I found is remarkable. It feels like a miracle." When the website first launched, I had found something playing from a very old television in my home. I was compelled to turn it on. I could see something. I could hear it too, but I had nothing to record it with. I would occasionally turn the television on. I don't know why. I think I could hear or see something. Finally, last year in the summer, I had taken a photo and listened to dialogue that I believed to be from the show itself. I felt like an idiot. I hadn't recorded anything. I was so entranced by what I was seeing. Since then, I haven't turned it off. I wouldn't let that mistake happen to me again. If I kept watching and listening, I knew something would come back. I was finally rewarded in December. The channel it appeared on didn't make any sense, but I didn't care. Video evidence and audio started playing, one after the other. I've captured and compiled together whatever I could. I can't make sense of anything. Older television always felt strange to me anyways. Admittedly, I'm frustrated. I feel distraught. When I finally fell asleep, no more video or audio ever returned. What could have been seen made me feel sick. To record so little took so much work. When footage would appear, I would have to move to another channel, where another would appear and then disappear again. I knew I had to stop though. I was too exhausted and I was tired of waiting through hours of static just to find another commercial. I don't know how this was happening, but the show never appeared beyond clips of Eddie Deer. I don't want to post this publicly on the WHRP site, at least not yet. I can't stomach anything that's happening. In the middle of this text is a 22-minute, 14-second video of original welcome home footage, including period-accurate animation styles. This is the major evolution of the project in this update, and there's no substitute for sitting down and watching it yourself, which I highly encourage. You know where to find it. awayfrompryingeyes.net, evidence entry 2, commercials. We won't be going over this video in its entirety, so if you want the full experience, you know what to do. We're treated to a mix of welcome home bumpers and ads in and around a home warming special. The first genuine commercial is this delightful animated piece for Crispy Sweets, followed by an ad for the Welcome Home Cookbook. Something new shows up here, Mrs. Beagle's Barnyard Eggnog, which comes up again later, oddly enough, and has a slogan on the cart, "Open your mind." Kind of an odd thing to put on there, right? Throughout these pieces, we get cuts of live-action footage through the eyes of Eddie Deer, the mailman. He's pretty clearly here now.
Go! Prettier than a magnolia in May. Well, no one has asked me to deliver nothing yet, but I know they'll be calling me up real soon. Till then, I reckon I'll just focus on wrapping my own presents. You know, I ain't never had so little to do on a holiday before. No matter, I can fill in the time just fine. Let's see, oh, let's wrap Sally's presents first. Or actually, maybe Julie's. She's gonna love this chimney cozy I got her. I mean, I hope she does. Well, come to think of it, Julie hasn't called me either. She always calls to play some sort of game. I've been in the post office all day, and no one has given me nothing to deliver. But maybe I missed something. Maybe a memo, a note, like anything. Maybe this is... Oh, wait, no, that's just the shopping list. Okay, well, no notes here. Oh! Oh, I bet everyone's outside playing in the snow. I can't see anyone out there. Maybe they're in the woods. Oh, shucks. Can't just leave the post office. Well, I bet the moment I leave's the moment someone should walk in needing something or other. Mercy, why ain't no one told me anything? Not a call, a visit, a peep, or nothing. How am I supposed to do my job when no one gives me something to do? Who's ever heard of folks getting recognition for nothing? No one. That's who.
These moments lead up to a surprise, an illustrated continuation of the home-warming storybook record, now showing us where Eddie was that whole time, and explaining these live-action moments.
The reason we didn't ask you to deliver any presents is quite simple. We have already done it.
Really? What are you doing up there?
Everyone insists you work so hard. All of us wanted to give you a break so you could finally enjoy it for yourself. So stuff an envelope in it and escort me to Wally's homewarming party.
Maybe
Come
I
along,
do need
hurry,
a break.
hurry!
Okay, I'm coming.
And so Sally Starlet and Eddie Deer make their way to home together with the rest of their friends. When they entered the doorway, the neighbors cheered. Finally, everyone was here. After hanging up his coat and hat, Eddie plopped himself down on one of Home's open seats.
Maybe this is what I needed. A love seat and my single pea on a plate. Yeah, I'm finer than a frog's hair split 4 ways.
And so, the resident, reliable mailman finally got to take a day off for himself. Everything was delivered. His friends were all here, and, most important of all, Eddie Deer was happy. Eddie Deer was happy. And so Sally Starlet and Eddie Deer make their way to home together with the rest of them. They entered the doorway.
Hello, Mr. Deer. I heard from Sally that you've been worried about deliveries all morning.
All morning? More like all day. I could see it all from my spot up on the tree. It's not easy being the most important decor for home warming. But I do what I must for this little neighborhood.
I still don't know who helped you get up there. Well, if you've been in your post office all day, it couldn't have been you, could it, Mr. Deer? Mr. Deer? Mr. Deer, are you listening? Mr. Deer? Mr. Deer?
Who? Where?
Eddie! Eddie, are you there? Why aren't you answering? Eddie!
A happy home warming to one and all! Ho, ho, ho!
You ever dissociate at the Christmas party so hard you see through into the underlayer of reality? Yeah, happens to the best of us, Eddie. It's not really hard to describe this segment's impact and achievement so much as it feels tedious to try. It's just so different and unexpected compared to everything that we've seen and known in Welcome Home that it would come across like stating the obvious, especially for those of you who just experienced it alone. Every element of media used so far in the project has now come into play. Live action, illustration, animation, audio work, effects work, culminating in this surreal, Lynchian event that we can understand as Eddie suddenly being truly aware there is more to the neighborhood. Eddie's sitting right at the door to the layer underneath. Notice how things went in the sequence of events. Eddie had an abnormal kind of day and was just trying to stay in his routine, stay in character, if you will. His neighbors were kind enough to gift him a day without work for home warming, and while people who live in their work may always say or think that they'd really love a break, when they actually get free time or suddenly don't have the thing to do that they know themselves to do as part of their entire identity, then it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like the vacation ads on TV that they've seen, that they've thought, maybe I'll have that, maybe I'll know what that's like, maybe that does feel good. But then it doesn't. You sit and you do what you think is relaxing for a few minutes. You try to vibe with people around you, and you wait for it to happen, that mythical relaxing, that happy calm that everybody talks about. And it doesn't come. Then a new type of stress hits, which we observe here very plainly. The sense of loss from falling out of character with yourself, and what you may start to see instead. Eddie was very suddenly in a position he is never in, without a job to do. To just sit there with his pea on a plate and enjoy the atmosphere. And he tried, but with his attention and sense of place taken out of its natural course, he's a character off script, and as natural consequence, his attention was allowed to drift elsewhere. Even as an anxiety response began kicking in, Eddie's attention expanded to what seems like a hyper-awareness. And for the first time, he saw home in the ways we've seen it. He saw something, or several somethings, that the neighbors have not seen, except maybe Wally. Imagine that Christmas gift. Dissociate so hard you drift into witnessing the thing that should not be. Sometimes, the people who are hard workers every day, all the time, truly don't want you to help them do nothing, actually. And what's more, Frank has just become more aware by just seeing Eddie in this state that there's more than the happy neighborhood as part of this reality. He hasn't witnessed what Eddie just saw, but he can see its shadow. It's a potent moment and a new awareness for us too. Wally isn't the only one who has awareness of something other. This was suggested by Sally's story in Happy Haunting, but now we've seen alongside Eddie. That red, that bright, piercing red, which we've seen associated with home and the talking toy phone. What is it? In the images of what looked like Toyland, the song Wally sings for home warming, the place you can never return from once you pass its borders. Eddie has passed them, and he won't be the same anymore. Welcome Home won't be the same anymore either. This project has really advanced in such a delightful way. This is now firmly on the track for the investigator character from the restoration team to come into focus and do their thing, which is when activity always picks up in a plot. And having grown to such awesome elements as original animation is a mile marker for a project like this. I'm gonna say it, the animation is my favorite new inclusion. It was on my dream list for things to see in Welcome Home, and now it's here, and I'm so happy. Cheers to the team for getting such an exciting element, and cheers to the animators and anybody who worked on it. All around, congratulations on such an ambitious and powerful update. The artists, the animators, the sound designers, Clown for writing and directing, and of course, forever, this stellar cast. Final notes on this update. The storytelling behind the new website is plausible and helps justify the change in writing, so good work on that. The angle of one team member breaking away from the rest is also a great storytelling angle, giving us a solid character to root for and ride along with. The creation of the storybook records is a fantastic way to world build, even when it's not pure overlying story progression, and the techniques in them have gotten stronger. Welcome Home does an excellent job of providing main storytelling work and world build. The ratio of cake to frosting is right, if you understand that comparison. I've mentioned before, I believe, that many other projects of this nature would overplay the horror elements too often, too early, and too strongly. Welcome Home knows precisely how to keep it in line at this point in the narrative. It's always played it extremely well. And can we acknowledge again all the effort that went into the cookbook? That's a lot of work. That's a whole mug inside the Jell-O. Who has the patience to get a whole mug inside the Jell-O? The team that brings you Welcome Home, that's who. You put the mug in the Jell-O. Whoa. As with all the updates that have come before, I'm very excited for what's next. This remains one of the most inspiring and high-effort projects in the field. I'm also going to take this moment to give a shout out to Clown's release of the next makeshift campaign for Welcome Home, Barnaby b Beagle. It also includes some collector's pins of Wally and Barnaby, if you want to go for those too. It'll be open for the next few days on a last week extension. I've got the link in the description. So if you missed out on Wally, go get yourself his best friend. This isn't a sponsor, it's just passing along the word. Whenever merchandise succeeds for creators, it helps them do cool things and keeps their lives stable. And if sales of Barnaby means more Welcome Home, then let me be Howdy Pillar and show you the merchandise. You know what I will sponsor real quick on the way out though? Myself. Because I'm back in my March hair form live over at the Purple Place and having a blast. I've even got new VODs available for Cabin Fever Dreams on the VOD channel, Nick Nocturne Astroline, so you can catch all the seasonal fun being had there. I did go live to cover the Welcome Home update on March 9th, so if you want to be around for anything like that, come check me out. More VODs as the March Hare doing Night Mind stuff and seasonal fun will be added throughout the coming weeks, and if you'd like to join the festivities live, I'd love to see you there. It's all March Hare right now, baby. Pure demon shapeshifter fun in a toony hair package, and we'll be looking at a lot of wonderful and whacked out projects. Link is in the description. Hey there, hi, how you doing? Middle of the editing, Nick Nocturne here. Scuffed audio and all. Listen, within the last half hour, just received word that Catastrophe Crow, the playable edition, is gonna be dropping on April 26th, if I'm reading this right, which I believe I am, because Adam Butcher, the creator, is from the UK, therefore, this is how they set up dates. So I'm guessing 26th day of April 2024. I'm gonna be streaming it from day one on Premiere, so if you have interest in that, just go ahead, follow me on Twitch now. You know, if that's the only thing you're interested in, then hey, mark your calendar, follow me in advance, and then just show up on the 26th around 6 p.m. EST. That's usually when I go live. 6 p.m. EST, whenever I do. If you don't want to miss out on just going through this live, join me there. And it seems that I know exactly what my next video is going to be. And if this is another 4-hour video, I suppose that the next time I upload will be in, oh god, end of May, early June. There's no rest for the wicked, babies. But yeah, join me over there. April 26th. Again, the link is in the description. We'll have a good time. Thanks to Clown and the Welcome Home team for making Welcome Home, and all the contributors to this update. Thanks to Barnaby B. Beagle, aka Synthetic Charm, for stopping on in for a second. And to all of my supporters on Patreon, who give me the ability to do Nightmind and run the Nightmind Index, which I updated recently for those who'd like to find new projects to dive into themselves. If you'd like to support Nightmind directly, you can join my Patreon for as little as $2 a month and get access to the Discord. It's incredibly appreciated and really does make a difference in allowing me to spend the time on videos without being stressed into rushing things onto the channel, and I highly appreciate it. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thanks for joining me the doc again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like that phone that won't stop ringing, you'll be hearing me again real soon. Until next time, remember to wave up high and sleep tight.